Hello, welcome to another Bing Chat Before Bedtime video. So viewers of the channel that come here for the Magic the Gathering content may well like to see what I've been playing around with on Bing Chat with relation to drafting. And there's some interesting stuff here. I'm not suggesting for one moment that you can necessarily use it to do virtual drafting of a pod, but it's quite interesting as a training exercise. Now, as I go along, there's a few caveats. Also, when I did this originally, I broke it down a bit more while I was kicking the tires trying to work out what it was capable of. So I've been able to condense the prompts down a bit. So the first thing I'm going to ask it, in fact, let me just show you ahead here. There's only two things I'm going to ask it. The second one I'm going to keep repeating. So the first thing I'm going to ask it, and these are compound questions. So I'm asking it, what are some of the best sets in Magic the Gathering to draft? Can you pick one of those sets and then, not the, and then generate a booster pack with rarity indicated, because it doesn't always do that. It depends. And suggest a card to pick and explain, God hear me, and explain the reason for the pick. So let's see what happens. Okay, so it's saying, and it's interesting because every time I do this, it's slightly different. I mean, Modern Horizons comes up quite a bit, and actually Khans of Tarkir, but there's quite a bit of variability. So it's picked Modern Horizons 2. It's funny how slightly different format each time I do this. So previously, when I experimented with this sort of compound questioning, it put these in a bracket with C and U and R. Oh look, old boy, old full column. Now one thing I'll add here, I'm not going to bother fact checking this. So if you're playing around with this yourself, it's worthwhile just checking to see whether the cards are actually genuinely in the set. Okay, this is quite involved here. So it's spent less time ruminating over the choice of the set, which it sometimes does, and more time over ruminating about the pick. Okay, so there we go. So what did our pick end up as? Again, sometimes it will actually mark the pick as it goes along. So what I'll do then, we'll find out, because in the next question, which is the one I'm going to keep looping, this pick so far, and then generate another pack from the same set and make another pick. So this just makes sure that yeah, it's a sort of quality control. I'm checking all the time that it is keeping track on the picks, track of the picks. Yeah. So let's find out what it did actually choose, because I'm unsure. I haven't read all of that yet. Okay, so it's assuming I've picked Glimpse of Tomorrow, right? Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? It's now also putting the colours in, and where it's C, it's changing it to copyright. And R, it's changing it to registered. So yeah, there's a bit of a formatting issue here. Sometimes it'll put in the creature type as well. And again, this is something you can experiment with, the different styles. You know, those three different modes of question. Okay, so it's not being quite so sure for this. Like I said, normally it does actually just pick one. I'll make sure I haven't messed it up when I corrected. I didn't inadvertently word it, but it's certainly offering me lots of sort of advice about why to pick cards in here. Let me just go back up the top, make sure I didn't misprompt here. What are some of the best sets? Yeah, can you pick one of those sets? Suggest a card to pick. Okay, maybe I need to say one card, but it seems it's fine because when I loop back round and reissue this, it's saying, well, I'm assuming you've taken this. Yeah, okay. Now, one thing when I've experimented with this, I'm just getting it to generate packs. There's no, what's the word? I haven't given it any advice about, when we get to after we get past the 8th pack, assuming we were in, say, a pod, sealed in a draft pod, about wheeling the first pack round and then just listing that. So we'll see if it just assumes that. I'm not quite sure how I'd word that if I wanted to do it. I tried a couple of things the other evening when I was first messing around with this, just before bedtime, and it didn't go very well. It just ignored me, basically. Yeah. It's funny how it's auto-correcting its own responses here to some degree. It's the sort of thing that happens in Word a lot. If you've ever used Word a lot, where you put brackets around C and then it auto-corrects to copyright. Same with brackets around an R, although you can switch that off in Word. So it's interesting here. It's the suggested prompts are things to do with suggesting things that work with sort of hearth and home and timeless witness. I don't know whether it would lock it into the set, and I don't want to really deviate because, as you've seen in previous sessions, I don't know if it necessarily has done it in any of these types of things, but when I was playing around with pulling information in from PDFs and the web, it sort of got a bit forgetful. But like I said, I don't think that happens, but I'm not going to force the issue here. Okay, so yeah. So I would definitely suggest you're adding anything that you do like this listing pick so far, because it's really useful. Sometimes I've seen it do that itself. Well, I've only tried this twice now, to be honest. Once in the original format where I kept changing the question I was asking slightly, like tweaking it to get the repeat packs, and then again just before I shot the video, just to make sure nothing weird was going to happen. I'm trying to do this a bit more because I listened through to one of mine the other day and it was a little bit on the slow side. So, I mean, it's great if you're watching the videos to relax, but yeah, it dragged a little bit. So I figured this makes them a little bit snappier on here. Again, in the descriptions, I'll include the 2 questions I'm asking it. So there's the first initial question where I've got that compound question. And then I'm just keep asking the same question, list the pack so far, then generate another pack, and then make another pick. Garth 1, oh my word. We've gone full on Wooberg here. That's what happens when you don't read it. Fit into any desk that can cast it. Let me just have a look here and see about while it's answering there. Scribe. Boom. Okay. I think I should just be able to do that. Okay. So it is Wubo to cast. Like I said, I'm assuming it's getting the packs right. Interesting though, it's giving me two choices. Or giving itself two choices, depending on how you think about it. I suppose what I could do here is say, here you go, pick. Yeah, anyway. Just trying to think with how I've already worded it, whether I should also just say, make the pick and then list the picks, but looks like it's just picking the first one. So our rare is Sanctum Weaver, and our old border foil uncommon is Goblin Bombardment. Okay, Sanctum Weaver. Oh, okay. Second pack. Where are we? Okay, first pack, second pack. Here we go, and that was a choice, but I didn't pick it. Okay. Is it saying I did, or? Oh, you could have picked. Huh. I should read this, shouldn't I? Okay. Where are we now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Should we do 8 and just see? Oh, come on. It's alright. Got a naughty mouse. Well, I'll blame the mouse. But yeah, I'm getting pretty detailed explanations here. I think this is the most detailed I've seen out of the two times I've done it. So we'll do what, 9 packs just to see what happens. I don't think it'll just, do a fresh pack each time. And of course, actually, of course, it's not assuming we're in a draft pod, because otherwise there'd be less packs that we'd get. So yeah. So it's actually probably not worth doing that, because it's already just doing fresh packs each time. This is like super draft, like where you just get a fresh pack. Wow, that would be a lot of boosters, wouldn't it? You just open a pack, put one pack, pick, and then that's it. Yeah, everybody gets a booster box. Funny. Of course, I've said that there probably is a format where that's the case. Glimpse of Tomorrow. So, what do you reckon? If I do it again, we'll get Glimpse of Tomorrow. Now, of course, as you probably gathered, what you can do is you can make the pick, which is how I've done this before, and then ask it to generate another pack. So you could say, you could slightly reword this. You could say, you know, my pick is, and generate another pack from the same set, and then not have and make another pick on the end. And then each time you say my pick is, and then generate another pack, and do it that way. So if you want to make the pick instead, yeah, you can do that. I've just been doing this because it's interesting seeing the rationale when it makes the pick. Or you can even do things like, can you make a suggestion for a pick? That's another way of doing it. So you let it suggest and then you make the pick. Lots of different variations here that you can try out. And yeah, while I was perfecting this a little bit, yeah, I probably waved goodbye to an hour and a half. But as I said before, it's entertaining, and I learnt a lot. Because although I have drafted, drafting is not my strong point. I mean, nothing in Magic the Gathering is probably my strong point, but that's another matter. Yeah, so we get fresh packs each time. Wow. Looks like we might be rare drafting here. Of course, yeah, that's the other thing. All the rares. Yeah, I definitely want to work with this and see if there's a way of wording the prompts so you could get it to better simulate a pod. I don't, like I say, I don't know if that's possible. You know, within the constraints of a foundation model that's been then being fine-tuned on the fly. So I don't know. Yeah, basically, if the capability is not there and it can't emulate that through like generative means, then yeah, it's not really going to do it. But you can write quite elaborate prompts, as you can see. You know, there's 2,000 words, so it's a fun thing to play around with. I forgot actually. I was going to show there is a someone's uploaded or created a GitHub page about prompt engineering, and it does have some Bing chat prompt engineering in it. But I was going to read through it before I try some out before I post a link in one of my videos. But yeah, there's. I thought that was quite handy. Yeah. So there we are. So yeah, we'd be able to do this 20 times, basically, before it's going to brush afresh. Another experiment you can do is obviously try it in, like I said, one of the different modes. I don't know how it would behave in precise mode. This sort of thing I think is better sometimes in creative mode. And trying it multiple times, just even the first one, you know, what are some of the best sets in Magic the Gathering thing. And then seeing the different formats that these take. And again, that's something you could put in the prompt. You could probably be more specific. You could say, can you put it in a table? Can you include the card types? Those sort of things. But I quite like I said here, this is the first time it's done this on packs and doing it consistently, where it's actually giving me two choices. This looks very similar to something we've had before. We've got a lot of missed vault bridges, but then they were at common. My initial experimentation, it was quite strange. I did it with... I actually chose the pack. I chose Invasion block. Well, no, I chose, Invasion set. And yeah, I kept getting all the dragons, and the same dragon over and over again as well. So I have no clue how it's generating these. Anyway, hopefully that was both fun and enlightening. Certainly I can see myself spending several evenings perfecting this. And let me know how you get on if you want to give this a try. And if you do happen to have your own YouTube channel and you have posted this sort of thing in Bing Chat, again, let me know, or please include a link actually in the comments as well to the video if you get around to doing something like that, because I'd be super curious, and it's fun to see someone else playing around with this sort of stuff and getting inventive. So thanks once again for watching. Bye for now, and I will catch you in the next video.